Okay, so the Singapore Grand Prix just finished. I mean, what a dull race that was.
Yeah, it wasn't great, was it?
No, it wasn't.
Great. There was not even a safety car.
Oh, right.
And I was told that a safety car was pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah, it literally, this is the only year we haven't had a safety car at the Singapore Grand Prix. So, yeah, pretty dull race. But either way, this is the driver ratings and review of the race. I mean, there's nothing much more I can really say other than dominant performance from Lando Norris.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Daniel's last race. Apart from that, nothing much more to say. Should we just get straight into the...
I think there's not much to review on it.
It was a race.
It was literally just straightforward.
Nothing really happened.
Nothing happened.
Let's get straight into the ratings then. So basically the ratings, we rate each driver from 1 to 5. 1 being absolutely stinky. 0 if they did bad enough to deserve a 0, which not happens all the time, but it's happened a few times. Kevin Magnussen, Monaco. And yeah, we do the drivers in order of when they finished, give a review of them, just general thoughts on the drivers, why they deserve the score. Sometimes we give different scores, and that causes a bit of debate. But either way, let's get into this then, shall we? So, obviously, in last place, retired on, I want to know, it's lap 10 maybe, Alex Albon.
15, yeah.
Albon.
For me, I gave Albon a 2.
Okay.
And mainly down to the start.
Okay.
He got absolutely outdone by Colapinto at the start, which caused him to drop down positions. Yeah, early pit stop helped him come back up, but didn't look like anywhere near like he was going to get Colapinto until then he retired. So can't really say much on Albon. He was level with Colapinto and quali. The poor start let me down. He dropped down to 15th. It's not good enough.
No, it's not good enough, but I gave him a 3. It was a good qualifying for Alex Albon. The start wasn't great. His race looked to be back on track with the undercut. He was right there with Sainz.
Yeah, but then he stopped well early. You got to think how early he stopped. You saw what happened to all the other guys that stopped that early.
Yeah, but Williams seemed to have more pace than the likes of Magnussen, Ricciardo, all that stopped early.
Magnussen didn't stop early.
Sainz was up there.
Yeah.
So
they didn't have the pace of Sainz.
Yeah, but he would have undercut and potentially... We know what Williams is like in a straight line. He potentially would have been able to keep position. It was difficult to overtake. At the end of the day, we don't really know what his race would have turned out like.
No, but...
It's a low 3.
He ruined the start of his race, whatever could have been from his poor start.
Yeah, he did. It's a low 3 from me.
It's a 2 from
more me. Based off what I gave Colapinto anyway. So
it's a 2 from me.
19th was Kevin Magnussen.
Yeah, on his return, he got a 1.
Yeah, he got a 1 from me as well.
He put his car, gave himself a puncture by hitting a wall.
Yeah.
Ruined whatever he might have done, which was a 2 at the time anyway. Because considering where Hülkenberg was, and he was nowhere the whole weekend, pretty much. And then he just put it in a wall. So, pretty easy 1.
Yeah, it's a 1 from me as well for
great return
Kevin
for
Magnussen. Yeah,
great
I mean,
return.
K-Mag things is just what you like. So, I mean, just to run you through his whole weekend, pretty much, got outdone by Hülkenberg.
Yeah.
Wasn't really anywhere during the race.
Nope.
Hit the wall and got a puncture.
Yep. Fastest lap.
Tried to get a fastest lap, had it deleted for track limits. Anything he had going for him, he fucked it.
Yeah.
So, it's a 1 for Kevin Magnussen.
Yeah, definitely is.
18th and possibly his last race, Daniel Ricciardo, who did get the fastest lap in the end.
Yeah, he got a 5.
No, you can't.
No, I didn't. I gave him a 2.
Yeah, I give Daniel a 2 as well. It's, it's not quite a 1. The RB doesn't look that great anyway.
They messed him up with that strategy.
Yeah.
Started on the softs, which was not a good tire to start on. Then they put him on the mediums. That was never going to get to the end. And then that was it. He was done.
You can only grade him by being so far away from Yuki in qualifying, really.
Pretty much.
Because his race was fucked from the beginning when they decided to stop him so early.
Yeah, and it looked kind of promising when he got back on their mediums at one point, probably halfway through the race.
Yeah.
But they just hit a cliff.
They did. Absolutely. It's 2 for Daniel Ricciardo, unfortunately.
It is.
17th is Pierre Gasly.
Pierre Gasly. I gave Gasly a 1.
A 1? A 1?
Really disappointed.
Why?
Really disappointed.
Go on.
He got... Where was he? Where was he this race compared to Ocon? Nowhere.
Nowhere.
And it's unacceptable. And I hate Ocon. But when Ocon's outdoing you like that, like, what did Gasly do? He just dropped past everyone. Dropped down the field. Yeah, granted, he was on the mediums probably too long. But he didn't come back anywhere. I was really disappointed in Alpine and Gasly.
Yeah, I mean...
And that could be the fact that I really like Gasly. And it's just disappointing.
You had high expectations?
He really disappointed me.
Similar to Baku, see, I've got to be fair here, I didn't give Ocon as harsh of a grade as you did in Baku, because I was under the opinion that, well, Alpine were just absolutely nowhere anyway. And I'm giving the same opinion here. I'm giving Gasly a 2. It's not quite a 1 for me because Alpine were clearly nowhere. They had that blip similar to Mercedes in the middle of the season where it looked like they were sort of fringe of the points, but now that's kind of gone to Williams and Haas, and they don't really seem to be anywhere near that anymore. So, but they were nowhere. But he got outdone by Ocon, so it's not a 3, it's a 2 for me.
It's a 1. I gave Ocon a 1 last weekend. I gave Gasly a 1 this weekend.
And you know what? We haven't spoke about Sauber yet, surprisingly.
Yeah, but what position are we up to now?
16th.
Hang on, they're getting nosebleeds here.
I know, yeah.
They're too high up.
16th is Valtteri Bottas.
I'm not going to lie. That stakes nowhere.
No.
He was, with Zhou the whole race, about a second behind.
Yeah.
I've just given them both 3s. When can you not put stake together? Because they're always at the back together unless something happens.
I've given Bottas a 2.
Because it's Zhou's beaten.
Yeah. The only sense of grading you can give the stakes is comparing them to each other. Realistically, Zhou today, or last weekend in Baku when he finished in front of Bottas, could have had the race of his absolute life. And likewise, like we've said about Bottas a few times this season, he could have had the race of his life.
Just races of their lives every weekend.
Yeah, and so you don't know. The stake is absolutely nowhere. All we know is that they both beat a few cars on the road, mostly down to last second pit stops. Yeah, luck that drivers coming in front of them. So it's a 2 only because Zhou's beat him.
And then you gave Zhou a 3.
And likewise, 15th, Zhou Guanyu, and I've given him a 3 because he's beat Bottas in the race.
Yeah, I mean, I've just given them both 3s.
That's fair enough as well. Can't argue with that.
I just don't care about stake anymore.
Well, what can you do? This is the exact same conversation we have about stake every single race weekend.
You either give them both 1s or both 3s, or maybe the odd 2.
Yeah. Unless one of them bins it, or is...
It's like if Zhou's a second or 2 seconds behind Bottas, it's a 3 for Zhou, not a 2 for Zhou.
Well, the expectations are lower for Zhou, so yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, what can you do about stake?
14th was Lance Stroll.
Yeah.
Oh no. Stroll doing Stroll things.
Stroll doing Stroll things. I gave him a 2. Because it's not horrendous. We've seen worse. It's a low 2.
Stop sugarcoating it.
I've been lenient with a 2.
You've been lenient. I've given Lance Stroll a 1.
I gave him a 2 because there were glimpses in the race.
Right, okay. Can I just pitch this to you? Right.
Yeah, I know.
Kevin Magnussen and Alex Albon retired.
Yeah.
Pierre Gasly and Daniel Ricciardo.
Although, to be fair, Kevin Magnussen was behind Stroll before anyway.
Okay, alright, fair. Right. Pierre Gasly and Daniel Ricciardo, late pit stops.
Yeah, but that's
the only cars that he's beaten on the road legitimately without an extra pit stop.
No, we overtook Daniel before Daniel pit stops.
Oh, whoop-de-doo. Daniel Ricciardo, who had 40-lap-old medium tyres.
Just saying.
The only cars he's legitimately beaten on the road today with a similar strategy to him is Bottas and Zhou in the Sauber.
Yeah.
Right? He was 17th in qualifying, while Alonso was 7th. He's a million miles away from Alonso, and Alonso scored points. It's a 1 for Stroll.
You've got an agenda.
No, I don't. I don't have an agenda.
First, you laugh at him when he crashes in Saudi.
Oh, don't do this, man.
And now you take the mick out of him in Singapore.
No, I mean...
This is shocking.
Let's have a look through my scores.
You've got a Stroll agenda.
I've given Stroll 5s this season because he's genuinely had good races. When he finishes in the points, that period where he was beating Fernando. But now it's back to Stroll things.
You've got a Stroll agenda.
Oh, fuck. Shut up, man. Right, 13th was Esteban Ocon.
Esteban Ocon. I gave Ocon a 3.
Yeah, okay, why?
Just because that's where I think the Alpine is. He's just done the bog standard, which is a 3, as we said.
Yep, I've given Ocon a 3 as well.
There is no reason for a 3.
Yep.
He's just done what he needs to do.
Similar to how we usually grade Bottas on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah.
Alpine were pretty much there, like we said. Weren't ever in threat of scoring points. But it's not where Gasly was, and he's outperformed him. Not much more he could do. The Alpine was nowhere. It's a 3.
Yeah.
So, yep. 12th is Yuki Tsunoda.
Yuki Tsunoda. What did I give Yuki?
I have a feeling we've got the same opinion about Yuki Tsunoda than we do about Ocon.
3.
Yeah.
Just done the car things.
He's qualified well, but he was...
He got a top 10 quali.
He did, but he was nowhere near scoring points.
He couldn't.
He couldn't. The RB's nowhere.
No. As a race car, it's upper
Yeah.
mid-pack.
But he's performed to the position you expect him to be in the race. But he couldn't really, Yeah. I think that's about
I'm not mad at Yuki's performance this weekend. He's had a decent weekend. Obviously, quali was better than the race, but he didn't drop down to like 15th, 16th or anything like that.
No.
So.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 3 for Yuki Tsunoda. 11th was Franco Colapinto.
Yes, Colapinto. See, now it's difficult. I've given him a 4.
Okay.
I gave him a 4. And I was just trying to think, can I give him a 5? Do I give him a 3?
It's hard, isn't it?
It's very hard. Because if that's Albon, and he's done what Colapinto's done, what do I give Albon? 3 or a 4?
I think you give Albon a 3.
Yeah, and that's why I gave Colapinto a 4. It's his 3rd race. It's at Singapore, and usually you saw so many mistakes from the front runners.
Yeah.
Didn't see one really with Colapinto. Just that little moment with Gasly on the inside, but that wasn't nothing too hair-raising.
Nope.
Usually, Singapore, you get a little break with a safety car, a VSC, maybe a red flag.
Yep.
None of that. Concentration levels in his 3rd Grand Prix, fringe of the points the whole time.
Yep.
Kept it with Perez.
Kept Perez very honest as well.
So I gave him a 4. And we got praise from Perez as well.
I agree. I've also given Colapinto a 4. It's not quite a 5 because he didn't score points. If he scored points, it's definitely a slam dunk 5.
If he got that point.
But like you mentioned, just reiterating what you said, 3rd race in F1, probably one of the most difficult circuits on the calendar, was with Albon in qualifying.
Yeah.
Can't complain.
No, honestly.
Can't complain. 10th was Sergio Perez.
I gave him a 2.
Okay.
Because it was an okay recovery for where he started and for a track where we've seen it's really difficult to overtake on. It wasn't dreadful. It was a low 2.
Okay.
It could have done more, but he did get a point. He got himself in the points. It could have been worse.
I've given Sergio Perez a 1. Your teammate is finished 2nd. You've come off the back of a race where you should have finished at least 4th. And that's being generous. Like, he should really be on the podium. But he crashed, obviously with science, could have avoided it. He needed redemption. He's meant to be good at these street tracks. He's won here in the past. Sergio Perez, at a time where they've come off the back of a weekend where McLaren have now took the lead in the constructors, he needs to do better.
Suspended it now.
Yeah. He needs to do better. And Max is fighting for his life. and Perez is not pulling his weight. And I know the whole thing about Christian Horner saying that they about Perez not being happy with the car and that.
The thing is, that Red Bull though, I think race pace wise, I think that Red Bull was faster than the Mercedes this weekend.
Yeah, it was.
Probably thereabouts with the Ferrari. I think the Ferrari had more pace than what they had in quali.
Yeah.
I think, but they were behind the McLaren. So I think Max was in a position where that Red Bull is, and Perez wasn't.
Yeah,
But he got ruined in qualifying. So it was a one quali. I'd agree with that. But I think his overall race and how difficult it is around Singapore to overtake it always has been. I think he's done okay to get into the points.
maybe it's a harsh one, but given
See, the thing is, it's a harsh one, but it's a lenient two.
yeah, it's right on the cusp, isn't it?
Yes.
Like the only reason I'm sort of tiptoeing around it is because I can completely understand why you're giving him a 2, but for me, the circumstances, like he's the expectations for Perez on street tracks, as we know, it's monumentally more than it is on normal
I've
tracks.
got no expectation for Perez.
Oh, there you go. Number 2, McLaren have just took the lead of constructors in Baku.
Yeah.
He needs to be trying his very hardest. Well, not just to try and claw back to McLaren, but to save Ferrari from overtaking him as well.
Well, yeah, did Ferrari might have. Did they gain a bit this weekend?
Yes.
No.
Yes, they did. Yeah, they did.
I'm not sure.
They did.
Charles only got.
They did by 1 point.
Charles got 10.
Oh,
Carlos
no, they
got
didn't.
6.
No, they didn't.
They got,
they didn't.
So, yeah, no, 16. Max
But
is
still,
18.
Still, that's obviously Ferrari's problem, but Perez needs to be doing better there.
Yeah.
He's been out-qualified by Max comprehensively again. He's been out-raced by Max comprehensively again. He needs to be doing better. I know the whole thing about Perez and the car, and he's not happy with it, but, like, you just got to do better.
He needs to do better. It's not good enough being 10th and qualifying 13th.
No.
It's not good enough.
Anyway, 9th is Nico Hulkenberg.
Yes, I've given him a 4
Okay.
because he didn't beat Alonso.
Okay.
That's the only reason. Other than that, he's had a great weekend.
Okay.
I think if he'd beaten Alonso, it's a slam dunk 5
Okay.
with the way that he was driving. But Alonso did beat him in the end quite comfortably. Good, 4 or 5 seconds was it by the end?
Yeah, it was about 4 or 5 seconds.
So, and Nico looked like he had the edge. Probably beat Fernando, maybe overtake Fernando at one point, hold Fernando up, just didn't. And so that's why I gave him a 4. It's probably a harsh 4 for the way they drove. But I would have liked to have beaten Fernando.
That's fair. I've given Hulkenberg a 5. He's completely wiped the floor with his teammate, and
It's not hard.
And yeah, he's been right in there, right in the mix. Got some decent points for Haas, especially in a time where obviously Haas are looking to gain on RB by the end of the season, and at a time where Williams look really strong. They need those points.
They do. Well, that's why.
Good
Because
drive.
he hasn't beaten Alonso. I think Alonso was there for the taking, and he was ahead of him for so long. And then he got right back up behind him after the pit stop. Couldn't do anything about it. I think he should have beaten Alonso this weekend, but he didn't.
That's fair. But I don't think it's that big of a. Yeah, I don't know.
No, but my expectation was to beat Alonso, and he didn't.
For
But it's
my-
a 4. It's
my-
a great drive. It's not
Yeah.
taking anything from a drive, but if he'd beaten Alonso, it's a 5. He didn't beat Alonso, it's a 4.
I don't expect him to beat Alonso.
I did.
I think that's the difference between me and you. I didn't expect him to beat Alonso, but speaking of Alonso, 8th is Fernando Alonso.
I gave him a 5 because he beat Hulkenberg.
I gave Alonso a 5 because he is quite literally best of the rest, and there's nothing else he could have done.
He's the best of the rest. That's how it was. If Hulkenberg beat Alonso, Hulkenberg got the 5, Alonso got a 4.
Yeah, but the Aston Martin, I think, is still quicker than the Haas. This is why I give Stroll a 1. Like, Stroll can't be doing that.
I don't know. I don't know. I think they're more even on pace than you think.
I think Aston has the edge.
At the start of the season, we're still remembering Aston from last year and the start of the season, and where they should be, and that's an Aston Martin drop off, right there. But I do think that Haas and that Aston Martin aren't a million miles apart, especially on certain circuits. Track dependent, of course.
Yeah. I
think as an overall, on every track in the season, I think the Aston Martin has a better car. But on certain tracks, like this weekend, I think they are really close.
Yeah, I do agree. They are really close. I still think the Aston eclipses it, though.
No, but I think if you look at their race pace, Alonso and Hulkenberg, I think they were so close in either one of them. And that's why whoever beat the other was getting the 5.
That's fair enough. I've just given them both 5s because I don't expect Hulkenberg to beat Alonso. And I expect Hulkenberg to beat Alonso. And Alonso is obviously best of the rest. Therefore, they both got 5s for me.
Well,
so, but no, I can see.
I'm being a lot harsher than you.
You are. I mean, well, actually, no, because I've been. You've kind of teetered around in the middle. You're on the fence today. I've been either one end or the other end.
A little bit.
7th was Carlos Sainz. Now, what do you give Carlos Sainz?
That's a 1 for what he did in quali.
Oh, it's awful, wasn't it?
Definite 1 for what he did in quali. It's a 3 race. I gave him a 2.
Yep, I give Carlos Sainz a 2 as well. It's not good enough in qualifying.
He got up to 7th, decent recovery. Obviously came through the pack. He had poor start as well himself.
Yeah, he did.
Did that early pit stop, held on to them hards, got ahead of who he needed to get ahead of, got 7th, maximised his points from his position after his start.
Yep.
So,
and
can't be mad.
And unlike Perez, Sainz maximised his points, whereas Perez got stuck behind Hulkenberg, he got stuck behind Colapinto, he got stuck behind Alonso and couldn't make inroads. Sainz, however, didn't.
Got ahead of him.
Sainz got ahead of him, maximised his points. But it's still not good enough. But it's not quite a 1 for Sainz. But that qualifying,
it was a
really
3 race. It was a 1 quali, so I averaged out at 2.
Yeah. 6th, Lewis Hamilton.
I gave him a 3 overall.
Okay.
I think that Mercedes' race pace was not there. It really wasn't.
God, no, it wasn't.
I think Mercedes fucked him with the strategy started on the softs.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, that early pit stop gave him no tyres at the end. Could he have done a bit more? Probably, but he also out-qualified George as well. So that's why I've given him a 3.
Yeah, I've given him a 3. It wasn't an amazing race for Hamilton, but you've got to take into consideration Mercedes really screwed him over with the strategy.
Yeah.
So he couldn't defend from Charles. He got jumped by Russell somehow, even though he was on the undercut strategy. But it just shows you how much Mercedes really miscalculated there.
Yeah.
So, nothing much more Hamilton can do. It's a 3.
Yeah, pretty much.
And he qualified pretty good as well.
Yeah.
So, 5th was Charles Leclerc.
Now, again, it was a 1 quali.
Yeah.
It was shocker for a different reason to Sainz. He just had his lap deleted.
Yeah.
As a race, as a whole, to get back up to where he was challenging Russell, considering he was so done.
Yeah.
At one point, to gain that much time back, I think at one point he was 20 seconds behind the Mercedes.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
So, I gave Charles a 3, just.
Yeah, I'm under the exact same opinion. Just a 3 for Charles. It is almost a 2.
The recovery drive that he put in around a track where it's hard to overtake, the temperatures are hard, your tyre wear, the fact that he was able to hold on to them tyres for so long and then put these ones on and not lose that much time.
Yeah.
He's done well.
Yeah, it was almost a 2 because we came into this weekend, even in the practice sessions, Ferrari should have been up there with Max and Piastri. Maybe they wouldn't have beaten Lando. I didn't expect that.
No, I didn't expect them to beat Lando. I expected them to probably at least one of them get the podium.
Yeah, and when you think about that, how many points Ferrari lost this weekend because they both fumbled qualifying. It's outrageous. So
the only thing that saved him is obviously the fact that probably if you gave them another 3 laps, he would have got 4th.
Yeah, and if he finished behind Hamilton, it's a 2. But the fact that he beat one Mercedes
and was pushing the other one,
he was pushing the one. It's a 3. Yeah, only just, but not a good weekend for Ferrari at all. 4th was George Russell.
4th, George Russell. Yeah, I gave him a 3.
You gave him a 3.
What did you give him? You gave him a 4.
I gave George Russell a 5.
Oh wow, no.
I've given George Russell a 5.
I'm not giving him a 5.
The more I thought about George Russell this weekend, the more I thought
you can't give him a 5.
Why?
Hamilton out-qualified him. You can't.
Yeah, but you beat Hamilton on the road where it matters.
Yeah, but you've got to take qualifying into account. We always take qualifying into account.
Okay.
We always have. It can't be a 5 if your teammate's beating you in quali. It can't.
Okay, what did you give Oscar Piastri in Italy?
Which, Monza?
Yeah. Go on, have a look.
If I get a 4 now.
Go on, have a look.
Okay.
What did you give Oscar Piastri in Italy?
How many races ago was Italy? I've not numbered them.
Baku, Monza.
4.
No, you didn't. But yes.
Baku 5, Monza 4.
Nah, there's no way.
Monza 4, it's right there.
Nah, you definitely gave him a 5. I have it on
Bro,
record.
it's a 4.
There's no way.
Look, 4, 3, 4. Baku was a 5, and today was a 3.
Was Monza before Baku?
Well, if it wasn't, and he got a 3 in Monza, because the 3 was before the 4.
Okay.
So
no, because I could have swore you gave Oscar a 5 in Monza.
No, I didn't.
I swear down.
I gave him a 4, and I bet it was for the exact same reason. If we rewatch it, because Lando out-qualified it.
Either way, qualifying matters, but when they're right beside each other on the road, so okay. Qualifying matters. I've given George a 5.
You were so confident I gave him a 5.
No, I gave him a 5 because at the end of the day, he's absolutely maximised everything Mercedes could have had. There was no way they were beating the McLaren, either of them. They weren't beating Max. They shouldn't have beat Ferrari, but they did. And Russell managed to finish in front of...
Yeah, look, if you said 4, I would have completely understood, give it a 4. I think I'm being a little harsh with a 3. But it's definitely not a 5 because Hamilton's out-qualified him.
What does he do to get a 5, though?
Out-qualify Hamilton.
Yeah, but he's beat him on the road.
Out-qualify him.
Okay.
You've got to beat your teammate in both qualifying and in the race. We saw how important qualifying is for the Ferraris. Qualifying's just as important as the race, especially around Singapore. If George qualifies ahead of Hamilton and is ahead of Hamilton on their mediums while Hamilton's on the softs, is he closer to challenging Piastri? Potentially. There's a potential there. We're never going to know because George scampers off. Hamilton's dropped so much time to Max. George could have kept up with Max in that first stint, potentially, as you were saying through the start of the live stream. You were.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know.
George being out-qualified by Hamilton just affects his whole race at the start of the first stint. The first stint, qualifying, just as important.
Can I just also say, by the way, I gave Piastri a 5 in Monza. So I am staying consistent with my beliefs, okay?
I gave a 4 for the exact same reason.
So at least we can agree on one thing. We're both staying consistent to what we said in Monza.
The problem is, though, Piastri had a pretty good race in Monza as well.
Yeah, and I think Russell had a really good race in Singapore. They both maximised their efforts.
They did.
But either way, I've given a 5 to him. Maybe it is slightly...
That's very easy. It's a very lenient 5.
Maybe it is lenient, but...
You know.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, what else is Russell going to do? He can't finish on the podium.
If he out-qualifies Hamilton, he's more than likely ahead of Hamilton at the start for the first corner. Does he keep up with Max? Does that mean there's a potential... Well, there's more of a chance of him keeping up with Max than Hamilton.
Yeah, there is. So... Either way, we're never going to know. I've given it a 5. I'm going to stick with my guns. I'm going to give him a 5. Third was Oscar Piastri.
Yeah, I gave Oscar a 3.
Yeah, I did as well.
was really poor quality.
Yeah. Considering where Lando is, Oscar has to be on the second row at least.
Yeah, he's got to be beating at least one of the Mercs.
Yeah. I mean, really, that should be a slam dunk 1-2 for McLaren.
Yeah,
considering the pace of Norris. 20 seconds up the road.
Considering the pace of Norris, yes. I think Norris clearly this weekend had the edge over Piastri like the whole weekend.
Yeah.
So to say a slam dunk 1-2, I think Max would have had something to say about that one.
It's not a hard fought 1-2 though.
But I think Max and Oscar would have had a battle.
Yeah, but I think it would have if Oscar qualified better. I think it would have always been in. It never would have been in doubt.
I think it would have been whoever qualified ahead between Max and Oscar would have won. But between them two.
I don't know. I think if Oscar dispatched the Mercedes earlier.
Lando was always winning.
Oh, yeah. No, Lando was always winning this race.
Yeah.
But it was the same sort of thing we saw in Zandvoort, wasn't it? And multiple times, actually, this year. Like, Oscar's a very quick driver. Very special driver.
Yeah.
But there's certain races where he just doesn't have the pace of Lando, and Lando just absolutely wipes the floor with him. Zandvoort was the other example as well. Got stuck behind Leclerc the same way.
Yeah.
He got stuck behind the Mercedes today.
Gave Oscar a 3 there.
Yeah, so it's the same sort of thing. But, you know, it's a good weekend for Piastri. He just should have been there.
I don't think the gap... I think Lando made that 20-second gap, not the McLaren.
Yeah, that's fair. But at the same time, I think Oscar should have been... You know, and also for the championship as well, you know, if I'm staying consistent with what I was saying about Perez, if we take and look at it from a driver's championship point of view...
Yeah.
McLaren need Oscar to be helping Lando. Oscar has to be qualifying better to be in a position to help Lando in the race.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Second, Max Verstappen.
I give him a 4.
Oh my god, you gave him a 4.
It's a high 4.
4?
It's a high 4. Purely off the basis that, barring traffic, Lando could have pitted again. At the end. If he hadn't hit traffic.
So you're saying the gap was too big?
The gap was too big. I don't think the gap between the Red Bull and McLaren is 30 seconds. Which it was at one point until the traffic hit. It wasn't 30 seconds. And if traffic wasn't there, Lando would have been 30, 35, 40 maybe if he hadn't pitted. That was the pace that Lando was showing. And he had the front wing scare. He had the lock-up. And he still beat Max by 20 seconds.
I see what you're saying.
Look, it's a harsh 4.
It's a very harsh 4.
It's a harsh, like, this is like a 4.9.
Right.
But I think the gap's too big for me to give Max a 5. And I might be being harsh, but
I've given Max a 5 for the same reason I gave Russell a 5. When you look at the race...
Yeah.
There's no more Max could have done in his situation. Like, there's not another car for him to overtake.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's more that Max could have done. The only thing I would say is that gap between them at the end flatters Max still. And that's 21 seconds.
Yes, it does. No, you're absolutely right.
It flatters him by a lot. That's... come down. It was 30 before Lando hit the traffic.
But you said it yourself, though. You said it yourself when we talk about Oscar. You think that gap wasn't the McLaren, that's Lando Norris.
Yeah.
So is it more about Lando Norris just being absolutely exceptional, or is it about Max Verstappen not being able to keep up with Lando Norris? Or is it a bit of both?
I think it's a bit of both. I think it's a bit of Lando's been exceptional this weekend, but also I think Max just saw Lando just getting away and maybe even gave up a little himself off that wheel.
To be fair, if someone comes on the radio and tells you, "Oh, Lando's just been on the radio saying he's doing a 6 in pace," and you're trying everything to stay with him.
Yeah, no. So I just think the gap was too big to give Max a 5. Purely off the basis of 20 seconds is flattering, and that's a large gap.
Okay. All right, it's a harsh thought, but the expectations for Max are higher than any of the drivers. So
Well, the expectations for Max is even when that McLaren is faster, I still don't expect 20 seconds. Probably would have been 30 to 35. To think 30 to 35, we haven't seen that domination since the Mercedes 2014.
No, it's been a while, hasn't it?
Exactly. Not even Max was pulling 35s.
No.
So it's too big of a gap, I think, to give Max a 5. But he couldn't have done much more other than maybe minimise the gap.
Well, it's qualified second, finished second. It's 5 for me, I think. So
Yeah, but I get the 5.
yeah. Lando Norris.
5.
I mean, it's an unbelievable weekend for him, isn't it?
Great weekend.
Absolutely. The things that could have let him down was only the few mistakes he made in the race, which could have ended it.
If he'd binned it.
It's a 1 if he bins it. In a championship battle, if he bins it, it's a straight 1 for Lando.
Stroke of luck.
Stroke of luck there, but
you always need luck.
Yeah, you always need luck in F1, as we've seen many times in the past.
Yeah, we've seen it with Max, we saw it with Lewis, we saw it with Schumacher. You always need a bit of luck.
You always need a bit of luck. We've seen it with Fernando.
Yeah.
Seen it with Seb. You know, everyone has it at some point in their career. Whether it's tiny, small, championship winning or whatever, you need it. So, yeah, Lando, other than that, pole position, completely dominated his teammate, completely dominated pretty much everyone.
Dominated
the race...
everybody, not pretty much, he did.
The race was ridiculous. And he closes the gap on Max, not as much as he needed, but that's more down to Max's excellence in this race rather than in Lando.
No, it was more down to Daniel Ricciardo.
Oh yeah, Daniel Ricciardo taking the point.
Damn it, Daniel.
Damn it, Daniel. Damn, Daniel. But yeah,
52 points now.
Yeah.
6 races to go. Can I see McLaren winning all them races? Yes. Do I see Red Bull?
How many points did you say?
52 points difference.
It's 52. Yeah, it is 52.
52 points difference with 6 races to go. McLaren could win them all. Lando could win them all. I don't know if Red Bull will be on the podium in them all. So that'd be fun.
You've got to watch out for Ferrari, I think, especially Charles Leclerc.
Mercedes around Austin, they do go well.
Yeah, especially Hamilton.
Back on an actual track as well. We haven't had an actual track, so maybe that's why Mercedes have been struggling.
Yeah.
Put them back on an actual track. Are Mercedes back?
We'll see.
So, yeah. And we know what Hamilton is like around Austin.
We do. Just to round off then, flop of the weekend.
Flop of the weekend, Ferrari.
Has to be, doesn't it? You know, at a time where Charles could have won this race.
Oh, no.
No. I mean, going into the weekend, we expected Charles to win this race.
Yes, but second was on the cards.
Second was on the
definitely.
cards. Yeah, 100%.
But no one was beating Lando this weekend.
No. Ferrari definitely. You know, you think back to the incidents of qualifying.
Yeah.
And everything. Star of the weekend has to be Lando Norris.
Yeah,
There's no one else.
It does have to be Lando.
No one else really stood out as much as Lando. You know, Lando performed when he needed to, and there you go. But either way, that's it for the driver ratings. Let us know in the comments below what you would give the drivers, who performed the best, who didn't, and we'll see you in the next video.
3 weeks until the next live.
No. 3 weeks with no F1. Right, well, we're going to have to reach the bottom of the barrel for more video ideas, and we'll see you on Tuesday.